Thank you, Tony. In this morning's buzz, we have that FBI terrorist investigation going on.
Scary stuff still going on. Lots of just amazing information rolling out in front of us.
Yeah. Well, with us today is the Chief of Staff of San Bernardino, Kurt Hagman. We have Mike Spence with us.
Yes.
Good to be here.
And we're going to kind of go over a little bit of what's going on. Give us an update on that.
Yeah.
Well, the investigation is still going on. They're raiding lots of different places. They're looking at lots of different people. They're going through every little communication that the terrorists had over the last few years, trying to track down more and more. And it looks like they may have been planning bigger attacks or attacks earlier.
Right.
And of course, they found all the other weapons. And so clearly, this was two very motivated people that were going to try to kill a lot of people.
Right.
It's really
That's
scary.
just
Now,
terrible.
you're also City Council in West Covina.
Right.
So have you seen any of their activity merge into LA or other counties or heard about it?
Well, no, but what's interesting is, we do like a training on what to do in case of emergency, right?
Right.
And we have there's an underground bunker in West Covina that we're all supposed to go to as councilmen or whatever. And, San Bernardino has a lot of the same kind of things, but no one really is prepared for something like this. I mean, this was something that really came out of the blue. It wasn't really a county facility. And, actually the sheriffs and the San Bernardino City Police actually did a great job.
They did a
great job.
Oh, yeah.
For a lot of criticism police get, they did a great job in this case. Great job.
And then we had the mayor on one of our other shows. He was talking about some of the training that they're doing at malls to try to, combat this if it ever were to affect in the public.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
Well, and that is the problem. Is something like this could go on anywhere.
Right.
It's very hard to, without any kind of intelligence network or trying to find stuff out. And that's one of the things they're finding out is they did have clues that they could have followed up on.
So
That's
share
actually the
some
real
of the
thing.
things that we know now that we didn't know.
Well, they know a lot about now the travel back to Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. They know about the radicalization that took place. There's a lot of things that now, in retrospect, were flags that could have been used.
Hopefully we learned something.
Third person too. Wasn't there a third person involved? Not a shooter necessarily.
Well, there's actually probably more than that. They're looking at other
Right.
family members, looking at lots of different people because there's a lot of weird connections. They had all kinds of pipe bombs. They had all kinds of equipment. They've been practicing for a long period of time.
Right.
So there's a lot of
They were in
signs
shooting
or issues.
ranges and stuff.
Right, yeah. And there were a lot of signs that there were issues. And, unfortunately, they were successful in doing this. But there's a lot of soft, quote unquote, soft targets because you can't defend it everywhere. You
Right.
just
Well,
can't.
there was a building in downtown LA that they were looking at. from what-
Right, and they had they'd taken pictures of Rialto High School as well.
Right.
And
That
so,
was on his phone.
that was one of the things they were wondering about. So there's all kinds of things like that are very difficult to defend.
You had mentioned off air, you had mentioned something about family knows family. And it was very
Yeah.
interesting. There was a piece where I think it was his sister was interviewed. And she had no affect, meaning she had no emotion. It was like, it's just a surprise to us, where I think her husband was kind of weeping in the background a bit with a normal response.
Right.
And so what is your take on the family in addition and potentially their involvement?
What I thought was weird was how they kind of lawyered up really quick, and the lawyer was making, saying, well, it's no big deal if they looked at jihad websites because, I looked at Britney Spears, I don't like her, stuff like that. There was some weird stuff like that was going on, but, that's why the FBI now is tracking down those kinds of leads to see what else they can find.
Lived in the house with them.
Sure,
That's
so
that
wasn't
whole
she
family thing
responsible
that
for some of
that's
the
kinda
guns
question
or
a lot
the
of that.
transfer?
Well, there were a lot of pipe bombs.
Pipe bombs,
There were a
pipe
lot
bombs.
of pipe bombs, and so, fortunately, they didn't get a chance to use any of those.
No, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, thankfully,
That's a good
thankfully.
thing.
Yeah, because actually, he had access to the main government building. He was on the second floor, was his office, and so he had access to the main government floor that he could have, done other damage at.
That's the other thing I heard, is that it wasn't necessarily that they were pros or really knew what they were doing. They knew that location, so it made it easy for them
They knew those
to
people,
go
right.
into and really take advantage of that space that they were familiar with.
Right, yeah. I mean, the county of San Bernardino, the offices are all very clustered together. And yeah, they were very familiar with that space. So it wasn't, and obviously, he didn't like the people he worked with on top of, the terrorist stuff he wanted to do.
Right, so even with the Rose Parade coming up too, it's see something, say something. I think in hindsight, what do you think some of the coworkers were seeing and could have said something?
Well, we'll never know some of that. We'll never know some of that. But I know, our office got a phone call from somebody about this, and they actually made a threat as part of it. And so we immediately reported it. And, that's what you're going to have to do, is if you cannot assume that's just something that's going to go by the wayside. You
Right.
have to go ahead and report it and have it flushed out.
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
Mike,
well,
thank you so much for being
yeah.
on the Morning Buzz.
No problem.
What if
Thanks
you
for
join
having
us
me.
another time?
I'd love to come back.
That sounds great.
That'd be
We'll
awesome.
have you.
Great.
All right,
All right.
thanks so much.
Thank you.
And so
And
next,
we got happy birthday coming
yeah,
up.
we're going to have happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So, and guess
you
what?
happen to know whose birthday it was?
Well,
just
it,
recently?
yeah, it was fine. But guess what? We won't have to look over our shoulders